No choir, no rose petals. But there were a couple hundred guests out there. Hopefully most of them were adoring, and the church was gorgeous. She couldn't have dreamed of a more perfect setting. Looking at her own reflection in the full-length mirror of her dressing room, Gabby saw a woman splotchy with anxiety instead of flushed with excitement. The dress was fabulous, but sleek and elegant instead of something appropriate for a princess in a fairy tale. And even her matron of honor / sister-in-law's expertise with the foundation she was dabbing on Gabby's throat and chest did little to camouflage the evidence of her out-of-control nerves. Minutes ago, she'd begun to look like she'd been slapped on both cheeks. "All right," Kelsey said soothingly, as Gabby took yet another shuddering breath. "Do you need some fresh air or something? Don't pass out on me." "We should have done what you and Evan did. Small, intimate, far, far away." "It's the way to go," Kelsey agreed, intent upon her task. "I did the whole big wedding thing for my first marriage. Once was definitely enough. You could have advised me of that before we started planning this 3-ring circus." "You wouldn't have listened." "True." "Keep breathing." Gabby nodded, exhaling slowly and fanning herself with her hand, for all the good it did. Her heart knocked erratically in her chest. She hadn't eaten all day, despite Kelsey's prodding. This was it, her special day, the day she'd dreamed of. And she was going to have a hypoglycemic episode and faint at the altar. She just knew it. Of course, the thought of Mark in a tux could snap her out of any funk. God, she couldn't believe how lucky she was that he'd come along. Once upon a time, she'd cracked a joke at her brother's birthday party about how she needed to marry a doctor before starting med school. And here she was, about to do just that, because she loved him, though not because he was a doctor. She stifled a chuckle at the thought. Her brother Evan ribbed her about that little comment constantly. He had a memory like a steel trap. Besides, she was in med school now, almost to the end of M1. It would have been more sensible to put this whole thing off until the summer, but she'd always wanted to have a spring wedding. It meant delaying any kind of long, lazy, sultry honeymoon for a couple of months. But that was okay. They would get there. Kelsey's gaze flickered up to hers as she stepped back and eyed her with concern. "You all right?" "Better now," Gabby said. And it was true. She didn't sway on her feet at the idea of walking up the aisle. The image of her future husband and the knowledge she was about to become Mrs. Mark Easton, and in a few years, Dr. Gabriella Easton, had instilled her with confidence. She just needed to keep him at the front of her mind and look at this wedding not as the culmination of a lifetime of girlish fantasies, but as a silly little thing she needed to get through to have everything she'd always wanted. It was all good. Life was wonderful. She gave Kelsey a big smile. Her sister-in-law looked ravishing in her black dress, almost the antithesis to Gabriella's. Her dark hair was piled atop her head in intricate curls, and soft tendrils spiraled down around her face. "There's that megawatt Ross grin," Kelsey said warmly, returning the smile. "The deer in the headlights look had to go, girl. I couldn't let you go down the aisle like that." Thank God for Kelsey. Gabby would be ever thankful that Evan had brought this woman into their family. She was more than a sister-in-law. Ever since marrying Evan, Kelsey had become like the sister Gabby had always wanted but never had. Nope, just 2 annoying little brothers for her. Even though Evan was an attorney now, and the baby of the family, Brian, was a successful business owner. "I hope Mark and I can be half as happy as you and Evan," Gabby said, leaning in.